Now on BBC Two, join Simon Cousins and Professor Terence Sinclair as they open up that celluloid vault. Welcome to the Celluloid Vault, the show where we dig up cinematic gold for your enjoyment. And on tonight's show is Journey into the Unknown, The Girl of My Dreams, a fantastic film filled with beauty and elegance. We're going to be comparing and contrasting this film to mainstream Hollywood cinema, and joining me in the studio is Professor Terry Sinclair.
I do beg your pardon. It's Terence Sinclair. Please do not abbreviate my nomenclature. If we continue down this erroneous path, we will have to terminate the interview, I'm afraid. God.
I'm very sorry, Professor.
I accept your apologies.
Your pipe, it needs rekindling there, it's gone out.
Oh, no. I haven't partaken in the Samson shag for 10 to 15 years now. I'm afraid this is just a purely psychological crutch.
Okay, Professor. So let's talk about the film Journey to Nowhere.
Journey into the unknown. Haven't you done the basic research, man?
Okay, Professor, Journey into the Unknown.
Correct.
Yes, of course, Journey into the Unknown, yes. Let's talk about the film's narrative, Professor,
yes.
the equilibrium, if you will.
Yes.
The film starts in a restaurant,
yes.
So we see our hero, Greg, walk in with a stunning blonde.
Yes, a very attractive young lady she is indeed.
She is indeed.
Yes.
They sit down, they order a meal.
They do.
And then comes over our heroine, Carrie.
Yes.
She comes over with the news she's had a dream about the stunning blonde.
Yes.
Has she been in an accident?
Correct.
Is this a nightmare? Is this a premonition?
Yes.
At this point in the narrative, we don't know, Professor.
Yes, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the director, Peter Sasby, opens his scene in a restaurant, a melting pot of socio-political discourse.
You're right, Professor. The scene is stunning.
It's absolutely magnetic.
It's dynamite to watch. The performances.
I concur.
Let's have a look at this fantastic scene, Professor.
I think the audience are in for a real treat here.
We have to be going.
This could be a big break for me, Sue. Come on now, love. You do owe me something, don't you?
Excuse me, miss.
What is it?
I hope you don't think I'm mad, but I've got to warn you.
Warn me? What about?
Look, don't leave here until after 10 o'clock. Then take a taxi all the way to your door. Do believe me, it is important. Really it is.
Do you know this lady?
Never saw her before.
What's going on? What's the bit?
Look, I work here. It's not a bit. Oh, do listen to me.
Well, perhaps you'd better explain.
No, isn't time. Take a taxi all the way home. Don't leave here until after 10 o'clock. That's all I ask.
Come on, Sue, let's go.
No, you can't go. Not yet.
Greg, she doesn't look like a crank.
She doesn't look like anything.
Oh, please don't go. You could get killed.
Killed? Well, I better not be. I've got a very important job tomorrow.
Lady, you're crazy, you know that?
Wow, amazing work. What do you think, Professor?
Well, great works of art set out their stall from their very inception. And here we can see that Peter Sasby, the director, is a consummate artist within his field.
I agree, Professor. The director has influenced many of Hollywood's modern filmmakers.
Yes.
And in tonight's show, we're going to look and compare and contrast how this director, this fantastic director, has changed the cultural landscape of modern cinema.
Yes. Indeed, we are going to compare and contrast sequences, but I feel that many of them are lesser works to The Girl of My Dreams. In fact, I would say that it is nothing more than wholesale larceny.
Strong words, Professor. Well, let's wheel out our first clip, which you consider wholesale theft.
Larceny.
Larceny. It's a scene from John Schlesinger's Day of the Locust.
Very well.
Let's have a look.
Let's go! Let's go! Hold it! Get out of there! Hold it! Now! Follow me! Up here, fellas! Come on! Come on, you guys! Up here! Out of it! Out of it! Follow me!
So what do you make of that, Professor?
Well, what we have just witnessed is an abject failure upon every level. A wanton, flagrant disregard of all the hallmarks that constitute the fundamental language of modern cinema.
Divulge, Professor, please divulge.
Well, first of all, we have shoddy workmanship from the costume department. It appears that they have mixed and matched the hand-me-downs of vagrants and wastrels.
Well, I think, Professor, you're...
Please do not encroach upon my professional critique.
Well, I was gonna...
Secondly, the cinematography has all the charm of a 40-watt light bulb.
Really, well, if you look at...
Thirdly, the editing is a piecemeal collage unworthy of a high school sophomore.
I think if you look at the...
And finally, the sound design has the oral elegance of a flatulent chimpanzee within a lift shaft.
Okay, now that you're done, Professor, why don't we look at Peter Zasby's very similar scene in that fantastic movie, The Girl of My Dreams?
I think at this juncture in the programme, it's noteworthy to inform the viewer of the fine use of non-diegetic sound that Peter Zasby employs within this sequence.
Well, now that you've finished, Professor, let's look at the clip.
Indeed.
Did you ever hear anything like that? I ought to get back there and have her fired.
You can do what you like. I'm going home.
Hey, not yet, Sue. Come on back to my place. Have a drink. Might be able to get you to change your mind.
I should sink so low and you should be so lucky. Good night, Greg. Oh, don't bother to find me a taxi. I'll pick one up around the corner. Taxi! Hey, taxi!
Sue!
What happened?
The building.
Where are you?
Somebody call an ambulance.
Get it, please!
Sue! 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 Oh, no. Sue. Oh, my God.
Aye, powerful stuff, Professor. Powerful,
Very powerful. Spine-chilling, in fact.
without a doubt.
I hope you don't mind me taking out a few moments to compose
No,
myself.
please do, Professor, please do.
I found that very alarming indeed. It's been many years since I've seen this sequence. In fact, the last time was with my spouse, Mrs. Sinclair.
All right.
She is of a rather frail, anxious
I'm
disposition.
sorry to hear that.
But when we watched this, it was too much to bear. In fact, it induced upon her such trauma that she had to be sedated by the medical profession.
My God, Professor, well, it's so powerful, the scene. It
Yes.
just cuts straight to the core,
It does.
doesn't
It
it?
does
It's
indeed,
just so
yes.
amazingly
Yes.
powerful.
Yes.
Well, I hope she's okay.
No, she's dead. Unlike the performance by Michael Callan, which I feel is riddled with a profound exposition. Indeed, I think it was so penetrating, it demands a second viewing.
Okay, let's roll the clip again, Professor.
Yes.
It's magnificent.
Yes,
Magnificent.
I
that
agree.
game.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that the interaction between Callum and Walker is such a success is because they are both seasoned adepts of Stanislavski's School of Method Acting.
That's right.
I think this can be clearly demonstrated in the exhilarating, sexually charged scene in which Carrie and Greg meet for the second time.
It's an amazing scene, Professor.
It
It's
is.
amazing. It's rich in symbolism and metaphors for entrapment and imprisonment.
Bang on the money there.
Thank you, Professor. I know, but the scene is so rich in semiotics.
Yes, essentially the signifiers connotate that Carrie is a repressed, sexually constrained representation of feminist ideology.
You're right, Professor. The mise-en-scene is so powerful.
Yes.
It's like Carrie is a beautiful bird trapped in a cage.
Yes.
And will Greg come along, our hero, with a key to release her?
Yes.
And possibly release her femininity, and will this come at a price?
Yes. Well, you have me chomping at the bit, Simon. Will we please see the clip?
Absolutely, Professor.
What's your name?
Carrie Clark.
Well, Carrie, how'd you know about Sue? I mean, how'd you know she was going to die?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Well, try me.
I dream.
Oh, you saw the accident in a dream, huh?
Yeah. I saw everything. I saw her walking down the street under the scaffolding, and I saw the scaffolding collapse. And I heard a clock. It was striking 10.
When'd you have this dream?
It was last Tuesday night.
Tuesday, huh? 2 days before it happened. Listen, Carrie, you in your dream, do you recognize her as Sue Tarleton, the model? I mean, you must have seen photographs of her, huh?
I didn't know who she was, not then.
Did you see me in your dreams, too?
No, just her. Walking down Nelson Street, you know, where it happened. Look, I did try to warn her, didn't I? I mean, I did try.
Yes, you did. You tried. Well, thank you.
Wouldn't listen. They never do.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes. I'd forgotten how wonderful that scene is. And what makes that scene so congruent and symbiotic is Zena's clipped, composed use of language.
Yes, Professor, yes.
Although the power of the scaffolding scene may be attributed to Michael Callum, in no way should we underestimate the dynamic puissance of Zena Walker.
Yes, I think it's best demonstrated in the dialogue of the scene where Xena explains her character's ability to portend the future.
Yes.
She simply says, I dream.
Yes. We simply must see the scene again, Simon.
We simply must, Professor.
Carrie, how'd you know about Sue? I mean, how'd you know she was going to die?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Well, try me.
I dream.
Isn't she absolutely wonderful?
Magnificent, magnificent.
I never tire of watching that scene.
What's so amazing about this film is now the director, Peter Sasby, changes gear from a thriller to a romantic genre.
Yes.
He sets up the two lovers with a really vibrant mise-en-scene.
Yes, I concur. And has there ever been a moment in the chronicles of celluloid cinema which eclipses the absolute perfection Sasby paints on his film canvas for our delectation?
Oh, come now, there's some amazing scenes in the film It's a Wonderful Life, where James Stewart meets his childhood sweetheart, Donna Reed, for the first time under the stars.
Surely you jest.
I don't jest, Professor. It may be a sentimental film, but it's a beautiful scene. Let's watch the scene, Professor.
Must we?
We must.
When I come through. What is it you want, Mary? What do you want? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. I'll give you the moon, Mary.
I'll take it. Then what?
Well, then you could swallow it. And it'd all dissolve, see? And the moonbeams would shoot out of your fingers and your toes and the ends of your hair.
I don't know, Professor.
Risible, absolutely risible. I'm afraid the scene we have just witnessed does not warrant my qualified erudition. Now play the extract from The Girl of My Dreams. We will let the juxtaposition of the two scenes settle the puerile delusion you retain.
Well, I think...
Play the clip, please.
My God, Professor.
Why didn't you tell me about the dream? It might have helped.
Yeah. Would have. Well, I did think about telling you, but I didn't want to be a drag.
Now, you listen to me, Carrie Clark. Whenever you have one of those nightmares, you tell me. Do you hear?
Yeah, but why does it have to be me, Greg? What is it? I'm afraid to go to sleep at night in case I wake up screaming.
Carrie, we're both lonely people. We need each other. Now, there wouldn't be much to start with, and you'd probably have to go on working, at least until I got established. But we would have each other. Oh, hell, what I'm trying to say is, will you marry me?
Oh, you don't mean it.
That's your answer?
No. I mean, yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
I think on second viewing you're right, Professor. It's a Wonderful Life is just a shallow, sentimental mess.
I concur.
So, back to Peter Sasby's film. Now he shifts the gear again to horror.
Yes.
In a sequence where Carrie is having a nightmare,
Yes.
a dream.
Yes.
Not too dissimilar to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Well, I think what we should do is juxtapose the two samples back to back so that we can see what a callow magpie Kubrick is.
I don't think you can call Stanley Kubrick a thief,
Yeah.
Professor.
Roll the thief!
What happened? Honey, what's wrong? Jack?
Most terrible nightmare I ever had. It's the most horrible dream I ever had.
It's okay now. Really.
Bewitchers of authenticity.
You're going out.
Carrie, wake up. Wake up.
Oh, Greg.
All right. What did you see?
Oh, it was awful. It was this man, the bank manager. He got shut in the vault. Yes, the lock jammed. He couldn't breathe. He was suffocating. Greg, it's going to happen. Isn't there something we can do?
Okay, easy now, easy. Perhaps there is something we can do. Now, you tell me everything you can remember. For a start, any idea where this bank is?
Oh, it's one of those little banks near St. Paul's.
Did you see the name of it?
No, but I know the building, I'm sure.
Wow, spine-chilling stuff.
A pure marvel, I think you'll agree.
If you say so, Professor.
I do.
Okay, well, moving on to what many people regard as the centerpiece to the film, the infamous Arkansas drinking scene.
Oh, jubilations, the sine qua non par excellence. This is my own favourite scene from the entire masterpiece. And after speaking to Henry Sewell, Sarsby's biographer, in his book A Titan Among Mortals, I can also let you know that this was the director's personal favourite scene as well.
Really? What is it Peter Sasby thinks so great about this scene?
Well, I think you should roll the clip and witness for yourself.
Okay.
Maybe now's a good time to think whether there ought to be any from now on for us. Maybe we ought to split, huh? Probably a big mistake in the first place.
Look, Greg, I don't want us to break up. I shouldn't have said anything. Oh, it's all my stupid imagination. Look, I've been on edge lately. I've been waiting, knowing those dreams are bound to come back. No. I shouldn't take it out on you anyway. Oh, go on. Forgive me.
Do you really think those things about me?
No, of course not. I said I'm sorry, haven't I? And no more talk about splitting up, eh? I don't think I could stand it.
Carrie, I'm sorry, too, for the things that I said. Hey, you know what? We just had our first fight. Our first and our last. Look, what say we mark the occasion with a little drink, huh?
Yeah, why not?
Great. If Madame will excuse me for a moment.
Oh. Only a small one for me, love.
Hey, let's drink Arkansas style.
You are?
More than one swallow, and the next round's on you. Come on. Ready?
Right.
Okay. Go.
Hey, how did I do?
You're now a member of the One Swallow Club.
Oh, I do love you, Greg Richards.
Wow. I now know after watching that why Salisbury considers it his favourite scene in the film.
Yes.
It's riddled with sexual connotations.
Yes.
Only a small one for me, love.
Yes.
And any more than one swallow and the next round's on you.
Yes. It's titillating stuff indeed. It penetrates into the very heart of bourgeois sensibilities. Before I saw this scene, I was a fellow sluggard in the bedroom department. But this excerpt became a primer for myself and Mrs. Sinclair. I cannot tell you how many times I've had this on repeat whilst engaged in sexual congress. In all honesty, I have Peter Sarsby to thank for the birth of my first child, Dorian. Although I think thank is perhaps too strong a word, since he brought that filth into the house I disowned him.
My God, your child brought home pornography, Professor?
No, nothing as trivial as that. It was a Steven Spielberg box set.
My God, well, let's not darken the tone,
Yes.
Professor. Let's look back at this scene
Yes.
for all its joy, its
Yes.
happiness it brings,
Yes.
and that playful performance from Michael Callum and his French accent. It's wonderful.
Oh, please play it again.
Of course, of course.
Hey, you know what? We just had our first fight. Our first and our last. Look, what say we mark the occasion with a little drink, huh?
Yeah, why not?
Great. If Madame will excuse me for a moment.
Oh. Only a small one for me, love.
Such a colourful scene, Professor.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Did you know that Callum spent an entire year in Paris so that he could research the linguistics and parlance of the area?
I didn't know that, no.
You didn't know? Well, by Jove, it shows, doesn't it?
It does indeed, Professor. It does
It
indeed.
does.
It's a bit like a Goddard film.
It is breathless, isn't it? And you do know the reasons for my felicitations, don't you, Simon?
What?
Well, it's all down to Callum's contagious performance.
Of course.
The laughter in the scene is absolutely infectious.
Yeah.
However, this is no coincidence. This occurred because Peter Sarsby subjected Callum to a 3-day grueling course of mirth therapy.
Right.
This was so he could get the correct tone and timbre to resonate with the viewer for full dramatic impact.
That's interesting, Professor. I didn't know that.
Oh yes. Callum had to travel to St. Petersburg to enroll with a Soviet school of demoralized circus clowns for a slice of joy that lasts no more than 2 seconds.
That's amazing.
Yes, play it again, Simon.
Okay.
Ready?
Right.
Okay. Go.
Again. 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 And again. And again.
Can I just stop you there, Professor? Let's just change the mood a little bit here, like Sagsby does in his film. Now the mood changes again to a thriller, where we see Carrie dreaming. But unlike in the dream sequence earlier, we now see the contents of her nightmare.
I think we should caution the viewer in advance of this excerpt, as it is palpable in its intensity. Indeed, it is very sinister.
Well, there you go, Professor. I'm sure you now want to regale us with your knowledge. Are you okay, Professor?
Do I look salubrious? After being subjected to Peter Sarsby's terrifying sequence, I'm shook to the core. I feel very nauseous. In fact, at this very moment, my gorge is beginning to rise.
Well, you do look rather pale, Professor.
Wan, now will you please procure an emetic vessel to alleviate my distress?
I'm sorry, Professor, I don't quite follow.
My God, must everything be filtered through an imbecile's medium? I will put it as clearly as I can in layman's terms for you. I'm going to yodel groceries. I'm going to toss my biscuits. I'm going to hurl chunks. So if you don't want carrot bisque distributed hither and thither throughout what I can only describe as an arboreal shed, I suggest you get a bucket forthwith.
Can we get the Professor a bucket, please? Go, Professor.
Obliged.
I think we'll leave it there, Professor. Join us next week when we'll have Michael Winner in the studio to discuss his masterpiece, Death Wish 2, and the positive effects the film has had on female and feminist ideology. We'd also like to take this opportunity to apologise for what the Professor said about Stanley Kubrick being a thief earlier on.
Hello, magpie!
You quite finished, Professor? Join us next week. Goodbye for now from the Celluloid Vault. I'm sorry, the fucking smell's obnoxious.